Hey guys, I'm back. So I wanted to chat about something with you guys. Is it that creepy factor? And what sparked me to want to have this conversation with you guys is actually multiple comments, questions, and asking my advice about your loved ones that don't quite understand or even really strongly feel adversely about collecting dolls. So what is it about a simple hobby for all of us that makes our loved ones and our friends, family members, coworkers, who knows, perfect strangers, react in a way that makes us feel like we're doing something wrong, when in fact, we're just simply enjoying a really beautiful hobby. The difference, I think, is that these dolls bring on a creepy factor. It's the creepy factor that really, I think, bothers most adults. Doesn't bother children. Children don't mind it at all. But most adults you will come across that learn about our hobby for the first time are completely freaked out. Even if they don't want to say exactly what it is, it's pretty clear when certain people see them, their reaction, their, oh, no, don't want to hold it. It's really interesting because a grown man, a grown woman will respond in a way that is unnatural to us that love the hobby. So realistic baby dolls, realistic toddlers, why is it such a strange thing? Why does it seem like it's so far-fetched and out there that this is a type of hobby that should be a harmless, happy, and our family members should support us without any question and feel like there should be any concern. But instead, what we get a lot of times when our family members find out or loved ones of some sort find out that we love and want to collect baby dolls, we want to hold them. Sometimes some of us collectors want to role play with them. Myself, I'm not really into role playing, but you know, I have a lot of friends and I follow a lot of channels that do, and I respect that, and that's how they enjoy their hobby. But it really bothers some people, and it gets to a point where I believe that I have one particular that I'm referring to and what sparked this, but I have heard people completely giving up the hobby, walking away from it because their family members really thought that they should be, you know, looked at and evaluated by a psychiatric professional because they thought they'd lost their minds. And it's a very extreme stance to take on a harmless hobby. And so I have my theories on this. I've had my own encounters with my family members. My ex-husband picked at me about it, but I am a person that I'm very strong-willed. So the way I address it is I actually will try to convince people. I'll try to educate them. That is my nature, to want to help them understand what it is about this beautiful art, because that's what it is. It's huggable art, but what it is that draws me into it and why someone should be okay with me wanting to collect these items, these beautiful works of art. They are amazing, you know, and for a lot of us, whether we're moms, but you know, it is innate in us as humans to want to nurture a baby. It's a very natural thing, and whether or not you've had children, I don't think really matters. I think it's a human instinct. And so for most of us, when we see these dolls, could be creeped out at first, but you know, once you get past that, you start really seeing what it is that draws us all in. I've been in this hobby for more than 21 years, and I've watched the community grow like exponentially. I have never seen a community grow so fast, and yet even though there's so many of us that collect, it's still not a mainstream hobby. And many other channels have talked about this. This is not a new topic. I'm just sharing my thoughts on it, so I don't want to take away from somebody else's thought on this particular topic. I've even talked about it, you know, while ago. But there's this thing called the uncanny valley effect. It's a real thing. And I'm going to read the definition. I pulled it up because I wanted to make sure I actually read the true definition of what it is. The uncanny valley effect refers to an eerie feeling of unfamiliarity people get while observing or interacting with robots that resemble humans almost but not quite perfectly. And Wikipedia says, in aesthetics, the uncanny valley is a hypothesized relation between an object's degree of resemblance to a human being and the emotional response to the object. That's more on cue to what I think it's about for dolls versus, us collectors and, the non-collectors that view us with dolls, especially reborns. Reborns in particular, they're painted to look like they should be taking a breath. They should come to life. They should have blood pumping through their veins. And hands down, that's what draws us, as well as completely freaks some people out. So my goal in the hobby has always been, for as long as I've been in the hobby, is to seek out the most ultra realistic doll and add it to my collection. That's the goal. And it's hard achieving that because I was in it in the early years when we took a basic Behringer doll from the store and blushed it a little bit, maybe painted a few veins on there, added some eyelashes, glued on a mohair wig on its head, and called it a reborn. I still have that, by the way, my first doll. And I've compared the doll to some of my current collection, and it's hilarious, the difference, because that doll intrigued me, and it kept me intrigued to continue to buy and seek out and look for and broaden my horizons and learn about the hobby and really look for the best I could find. And over 21 plus years, I have found a lot of ultra realistic baby dolls that truly look like they should be taking a breath. They should make a cooing noise. They should cry. They should, make a face back at you. That's how realistic some of these dolls are painted. And as much as it's endearing to us, that uncanny valley effect really freaks people out because they feel very strange about it. And it could be a true response that they can't help. And I think for some of those really strong opinions that are like, you're crazy, you need to be mentally evaluated, this is not normal. When people come at the hobby in that sense, I think that it's more because of this uncanny valley feeling. Like, it brings out a visceral reaction in some people because they don't understand it. It just is something that makes them feel very uncomfortable. They don't want to touch, they don't want to hold it. It really messes with them. And I think for, in my situation where I had family members that thought I was absolutely losing my mind because why am I collecting dolls as an adult? I have 2 children, they're now grown, but at the time when I started collecting, I had young children. In fact, my first doll was when my youngest, she was under a year old. She was a baby. And that's what also intrigued me because it looked sort of like her as a baby. And that's why I was like, oh, this is so cool. It's like frozen in time. But my family members at the time thought I was crazy. Like, why would you collect these? Why do you need them? This isn't worth spending your money on, because let's face it, the hobby is expensive as well. And that's also a part of it that our family members don't quite grasp. So for me, I equate the hobby and the dolls that I collect in my collection to artwork and collecting artwork, because I do collect artwork as well. I collect a lot of things. I'm a collector at heart, so to speak. So dolls is just another aspect of art and collecting art in my world. Do I enjoy holding Monroe? Do I enjoy dressing her? Absolutely. Those are the aspects of it that are in addition to just collecting a piece of artwork. They're huggable artwork. But people that aren't in this hobby don't actually think of the reborn art as art. They think of it as a toy. They think of it as us collecting a toy that we want to play with as grown women, some men, but really, what's the difference, whatever you collect? So there are so many collectors out there that collect trains, and we say this all the time, and it's one of the things that us doll collectors will always throw back at you. It's like, we have grown men playing with train sets, collecting trucks, airplanes, models of all kinds, collecting, sports cards, and collecting action figures. There's so many kinds of collectibles out there now that you would think that doll collecting would become more mainstream. And traditional like porcelain dolls and things like that are. It's just something about the reborn art that just can't seem to get there. And it really is, I think it really does boil down to uncanny valley effect. It's unfortunate, but because they're so hyper realistic, because the art is so good, and that's actually I think it just speaks volumes of how amazing the artwork actually is. And if you think about it in terms of that, then we should be taking it as a compliment that so many people are so still creeped out about this, that it's still, they look at the doll and go, that is creepy. And when I had participated in the Guardian interview, and that was an interesting experience because I had one male journalist come and he did the video part, and then I had a female journalist that came and she did the written part of the article. And what I found that was so interesting is that they both had very similar reactions. And as much as the initial reaction was a little bit taken aback by them both, once they actually started looking at it and I explained it in a way of artistic value versus it's a doll that looks like it should come alive, it was viewed in a different way. So I've said this time and time again, and I will state it again. How we get responses from other people outside of the community is how we will, how do I say this? What we put out there for the energy and how we explain what it is what we'll get back from them. So if you go into it when you have a perfect stranger and you want to show the doll, giving off the fact that it's okay for them to think it's creepy and that you're apprehensive, you're going to get that same response. But if you come at it like, this is a work of art, this is an investment because this is really, you know, I can get my money back out of this, should I sell it? It's a huge community of people that come together that share this interest and love of baby dolls. But the biggest thing is looking at it from the viewpoint of artwork instead of a toy doll, and how amazing it is. So once you start pointing out the painting and the skill and the talent that it takes for an artist to be able to actually achieve the realism in these dolls, there's a different mindset there. That's when I noticed the flip. So when I started, instead of acting like I had to defend why I want to collect a baby doll into an explanation of a beautiful work of art and look at the talent, people's attitude completely did a 180. And some of the people that thought about it and thought I was crazy then had a different respect for what I was collecting. And I think that's the flip of the switch. It's like the aha moment that we want all of our family members that may not have gotten it before to understand. And we collect for all different reasons, but at the end of the day, these are pieces of artwork. And if we continue to share them as such, it's less scary. It's less creepy, right? It takes on a different persona and it becomes more of like, wow, I can respect that, because I've had several men that were creeped out in the beginning come back and take a second look and go, wow, how did they achieve that? Like, how did they get it so realistic looking so it looks like it should take a breath, like the baby should cry, make a noise, coo, whatever, what have you. Then it's a whole new level of respect. And I think that if we present it in a way to our loved ones, and this is just advice, and that may not work at all, but I'm trying to kind of help you understand what I've watched evolve in my own family and friends and or our neighbor who thought it was like the coolest thing ever. And I think it's just how we present it, you know, and I've said this in a previous video, but it really is important that if you present it in a way that you're proud, that it's an amazing piece of artwork, and look at the talent involved. Like, I couldn't create something like that. It takes an artist, a true artist, to be able to actually achieve what these finished products are that we have in our collections. And if you go at it like that, you'll find you'll get a lot more respect back. Like, people start thinking in a different way. And that'll help bring around people to understand, oh, I get it. And I think it's how it sucked new people into our hobby, to be honest with you. I've seen so many people that say, I started off because I stumbled across this in a video on YouTube, or I saw it on eBay and I was like, this is creepy. But then once they started digging into it and then realizing the art that goes into it, they were like completely hooked on it. It's kind of an amazing thing, really. And you don't have to love babies to appreciate the art. That's the other key. So kind of put that in the back of your mind, so to speak. So if you're presenting it to somebody that you are worried might think you're a little odd for collecting dolls because you're an adult or what have you, it's a mindset. I think it starts with how you feel about it. And if you feel weird about it, they're gonna sense that you feel weird about it. If you feel very proud and, wow, look at this, it'll take on a whole nother meaning. And hopefully they'll start to come around and they'll start to get it. And I'm not saying it'll happen overnight. And I'm not saying that they will completely always be like, yeah, spend your money on a doll. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, yes, we all have supportive people in our lives, not all of us. Trust me, I had years of having no support and people thought I was crazy. To now, I'm 21 plus years in and they have a healthy respect for the fact that I have this hobby. They've seen me have some really interesting works of art come and go. They see my channel grow on YouTube and the number of people that I talk to on a regular basis that either ask for information or that I'm friends with or what have you. And there's just a level of respect there. And that's all I ask. I don't necessarily need someone to understand completely why I collect dolls and why I enjoy them. I just need them to respect that it is my hobby and that whether they agree or disagree with it is kind of a moot point because it's my hobby. And it's just just respect that I have the hobby, respect that I have these works of art, and call it a day. And I'm fine with that. And that's all I've ever asked from my family members, but I will tell you that they're always interested now in what new came home if I had a new doll come home. And it's actually really, you know, kind of fun because now there's interest there, especially when they know that it's a work of art. So those are my thoughts, guys. I wanted to put this out there because I know a lot of us struggle with these things, you know, family members that don't get it. Putting kind of my perspective on it, I think my take on why I think people don't get it. And, you know, hopefully this helps, even if it's one person out there, then that's really all my goal is to help shed some light to why and maybe how you can approach moving forward with those family members or friends or people in your life that don't get it or have put it down or have been very strong-handed about the way they talk to you about it. And, you know, taking a different approach, maybe it'll help. That's always my goal. So if you found this helpful, thanks. Give it a thumbs up. I'm gonna try to do more of this kind of style video because I do get a lot of these questions asking for help and my take on it because I have experienced a lot of this, even though I'm not experiencing it currently. I definitely experienced it in the past and it was hard. And it was a lot to get past, especially, it's a big burden to carry when, you know, you get strife from your family over your beloved hobby. It should not be that way. It should be, you know, fun. So anyways, guys, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope you all have a great rest of your Monday, Labor Day, an extra day off. Woohoo. And hopefully we'll see you all very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.